Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Matasha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. Now we are analyzing after taking Aham Brahmasmi. Now the whole world is nothing but Brahman. So looking at the world, so now I don't have to close my eyes to see Brahman because everything else is nothing but Brahman. So therefore, the way the scripture analyzes, I am looking for what is the cause for this universe. And Vedanta provides a cause, and this is the reason why Vedanta is also Pramanam. Because I can say I am a conscious entity, I can go and try to inquire who I am. I am saying that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. I can go through all the process, but in the process of excluding, I am only becoming a smaller and smaller because I am not the world, that we know, and I am not the body, so I am becoming smaller, and I am not the mind, I am becoming even smaller. I am not the intellect. So in the process of exclusion, I am only becoming a smaller and smaller entity. Therefore, the Vishishtadvaita also says, you are essentially a smallest anupramana. You are only so small that will not give you moksha. So self-knowledge will not give you moksha because it's understood only the self is exclusion of every object as not the self. But here it says it is inclusion of everything because what I am is pure existent consciousness and the existence alone became many, and therefore I should know what I have excluded is the so-called unconscious entities is also Brahman. Why unconscious entities Brahman? Why when the Brahman is pure consciousness? That's what we need to analyze clearly so that even the world that we see is nothing but the expression of Brahman, and that's what this statement that we are looking at the sloka the 228 of the Vivek Chudamani. It says Sadidam Paramadvaitam Swasmad Anyasya Vastuno Bhavat Nahyanyadasti Kanchis Samyaku Paratattva Bodha Sadashayam. So Sat Idam, that's what we are analyzing. Idam is Sat Swarupam, is essentially that which came from the one cause. So we are looking what is the cause for the universe. One cause is pure existence, and here is why the Vedanta is a science. It doesn't say God created the world or somebody created the world. It is not someone who is not the one creator cannot be inside the world or outside the world, because inside the world everything is created, so he cannot create himself. So it cannot be inside the world. It cannot be outside the world because even outside has to be created, and therefore even outside falls as a part of creation only, and there is nothing outside. So creation means infinite. That's called Purnamidam. Idam is Purnam. Idam means the entire universe is nothing but infiniteness, and therefore he cannot be inside the universe or he cannot be outside the universe. Only answer can be he and the universe are not separate. So itself became many, and that's what this scripture Vedanta provides. And what was there before creation? Here before is only we're talking about for convenience of explaining only, because even the before is a concept of time. Time is also product of the creation only. So in science also we have Big Bang. So when did the Big Bang occur? If you ask the question, they will say billions of years ago the Big Bang occurred. But when you say when is a concept of time, but what was there before the Big Bang, that question itself becomes a problem for science, because the concept of time came only after the bang. because to define a time you need a sequential event, two sequential events to define the gap between the two, and says it starts the billionth of a second after the bang only they can talk about. They cannot say what was before creation. So here also the scripture also has the same, because it's a cyclic process. There is a continuous cycle, cannot have a beginning, but for convenience we say what was there before creation. Existence in unmanifested form alone was there before creation, and that is called Sat Idam. That Sat Swarupam, that is pure existence alone was there, and what was then happened to the existence, and that's what essentially the scriptures talks about. That is the Karanam, cause, and all are products. So products are nothing but cause itself in different forms. The ornaments are not nothing but gold itself in different forms. So the Karyam is a product, there are many. Karanam is only one. So if I know Karanam, then I know in essence all the Karyam product, because it's the Karanam, the cause only, is expressing in terms of all the effects that we see. So whether it's a ring or a bangle, there are million types of rings that can be, million types of bangles can be. I may not know all the details of those bangles and necklaces and all that, yet if I know that it is gold, I have the substantive knowledge of all the gold ornaments. Substantive means from which it is made up of. So what exactly is the substance? Is the gold itself is the substance. I cannot remove the gold and give you the ring back. So if it is your ring, I can do, I may try to do, but I cannot separate the gold from the ring. So someone recently asked, say, what is Maya? And this is Maya. What's Maya? Whether ring exists or doesn't exist, ring is different from gold or is same as gold, all that should be understood, because the ring and the gold are ontologically of different order of reality. So gold is higher order of reality, because the ring can change into a bangle, and that is a destructive transformation compared to the gold becoming into ornaments, where it is a transformationless transformation. Whereas if I melt the ring is gone, and I may make into bangle. Now bangle has come. So ring transforming into a bangle is a destructive transformation, but the destruction is what? Destruction of only name and a form, not the substantive. Substantive is the gold. So gold remains the same in spite of these transformations. So the world is continuously changing. That's what is called Jagat. Jayate, Gachyate is Jagat. That which keeps coming and going, coming and coming. That's called Agama Payitvam. Then that is coming and going. And therefore, that is the nature of the world. But the substantive cannot come and go because it's substantive, and that is the essential Karanam, and that is made up of Sat, and Sat is eternal. That which exists cannot never to cease to exist, and this is an absolute law of conservation. We are not talking about the material conservation or the energy conservation, but it is an existence conservation, because the same existence now expressing in different way. So what was the scriptural statement? Sadeva Saumya Idamagram Asid Ekameva Advitiyam. That existence alone was there before creation, and it is one without a second. Ekam Eva Advitiyam. There is nothing other than existence, because if something else other than existence only non-existence, and non-existence also existed, we cannot say. It's a contradiction in terms. And existence has to be infinite, and it is Ekam, only one, and that which is the Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Three words are being used to mean the same thing. It's one, alone, and non-dual. That means there is nothing other than it. Shankaracharya interprets the three words are intended to negate Sajati, Vidati, Swagata Beda, are not there, or Swagata Beda Rahitam. There is no internal differences, there is no Jati Beda. Jati means all chairs are one type, that is a Jati. All tables are one Jati. But there is only one table, you cannot have a Jati. If there is a one of a kind, you cannot have Jati, because there should be many species that fall into that phylum. And therefore, if it is only one, because it's infinite, you cannot have two infinities. Therefore, there is only one of a kind, and therefore you cannot have neither Sajati or Vijati. But it cannot also have an internal differences, Swagata Vedas. And this way, the Visishtadvaita differs from the Advaitic interpretation of that it doesn't have any Swagata Vedas. There are no internal differences inside infinity. Why? Because infinite. So there cannot be parts in the infinity. Whereas the Ramanuja proclaims that by axiomatic statement that it has internal differences. Why? Because we see the Lord as a separate from the internal differences that are different. The Jivas and Jagat are in him. And as you see in the Virat Swarupa, where he shows the total form as that Advaitam from the totality point, that is one Brahman, but has internally difference of different the Jivas and the Jagat forming his body. And that's what essentially Visishta Advaita. These Jivas and the Jagat became Visheshanas for the Lord. So therefore this is Visishta Advaita. Total is Advaita, but there is an internal difference. But from the point of logic as well as scriptures, then one cannot have anything other than pure consciousness, and infinite cannot be differentiated. So it is existence alone expressing as though into different forms. That has to be understood. So therefore the whole universe is nothing but Tadeva Saumya Idamagamasa, existence alone was there. So Idam, this and this is that which is Purnam, Purnamada, Purnamidam. So Idam stands for the whole entire universe, because it says Isavasya Medagam Sarvam. So Idam Sarvam is pervaded by the Ishvara. That's what is the Upanishad statement. And here Idam stands for everything that I can point out, this is Idam. And therefore all objects come under Idam. So this Ad Idam, entire universe is Idam, and that comes from this Sat, and that's what the scriptural pramana is. So scripture says it itself became many. So after discussing that Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasin, existence alone was there before creation, then what happened to that existence? Then Shankara says, look at this statement properly. Sadeva Samya, existence alone was there before creation. Now existence is expressing itself in many forms. So what is expressed is gold and all was there as though before became it ornaments. Now it became ornaments. So what happened to the gold? It says gold itself is ornaments. So every ornament is nothing but gold only, appearing as different things. So Brahman appearing as many different things in the universe. So the whole world is appearing of different names and forms, and that exactly what the scripture is pointing out. Therefore one substance, one karanam expressing in different karyam. So products are nothing but a transformationless transformation products, just as gold is becoming into rings. So is ring same as gold or saying different from gold? Depends on how you look at it. If I am paying attention to only ring and which is different from a bangle, so in that sense ring is different, bangle is different, necklace is different. I am differentiating each ornament based on the attributive content that belongs to that particular ornament. I am not based on the attributive content of the essence of it. That is, essence is nothing but the gold. The substance is nothing but the gold. So I am not differentiating on the basis of gold, because it is also gold, that is also gold. Then why do I give different names for it? Because I need the names for different transactions. So it says, so one fellow asked me, say, hey, go and bring some gold. So he went there and brought, there are several ornaments there. So he brought a ring there. He said, not this one, the other gold. What other gold? There are so many ornaments there. What exactly you want? You want a ring, or you want a bangle or a necklace? Because everything is nothing but gold only. So for me to ask him to bring something or for transactions, I have to specify by name and a form only. A name and form has a utility. Utility means the usefulness. So ring is useful in one way, different from the use of a bangle and use of a necklace. So each form has a purpose and therefore utility and serves for transactions only. So they're called transactional reality. So ring is different from bangle, bangle is different from necklace, and so all the differences, attributes, utilities, transactability, perceptibility, all that belongs to only the rings, bangles and necklaces, which are nothing but the name and a form. A name is given for the form. Naming involves knowing. So not only just a form, I had to have a name for it for transactions, and therefore it is nothing but nama and a rupa. Rupa stands for all attributes. Rupa means the color or the form and color, and the name is the name for transactions. So attributive content and the name. We are not telling about the substantive content here, because there is only one substance for the whole universe. So that's why I cannot say bring gold from their room. If you bring a ring, it says, I don't want ring, I want something else. It says, I had to specify only for, based on the nama rupa only. Say, what is a ring? Go and bring a ring. So what is a ring here? Ring is this. Then I had to give attributes of the ring so that you can distinguish a ring from the bangle and the necklace, so that you can bring the ring that I want compared to any other. So for all transactional purposes called a vyavaharika satyam, I need name for a form. Also, it should be understood, as we quoted also from the Mundaka Upanishad before in the Ishwaram, he himself became many in terms of nama rupa only. There is no substance other than him. So he himself became many. So in this Chandogya, after discussing that the existence alone was there before creation, and it is sajada vijayati Swagata Veda Rahitam, that means no distinctions of any kind in that pure existence, but itself saw. So in this Tadaicchata Bahusyam Prada Eti, and so the Upanishad starts, says existence alone was there before creation and it saw. So how can you see existence saw? The existence there was alone and nothing else was there. Saw means, so because of used by the word sa, the scripture says it is of the nature of consciousness, not just the existence but consciousness. That is Sat Swarupam plus Chit Swarupam. And because it is consciousness, that means it is Brahman, which is nothing but existence and which is conscious entity. Prajnanam Brahma. Therefore it is consciousness, is Brahman, is being defined by the Mahavakyas. Therefore it says it's a pure existence which is of the consciousness. It saw, because there is nothing else to see other than itself. Therefore that means it is self-conscious. That means it is aware of itself. And when it's aware of itself, it says, hey, there is nothing other than me here. So there is no plurality, because it's the existence only everywhere. So he wanted to have fun. So Bahusyam Praja Eti, let me become many. So there is a motivation to become many, and the drive to become many, scripture talks about, is because of the karma and all that. So it itself became many to exhaust certain karmas or to exhaust in different forms. Gold itself became many ornaments. When it say, so why did it become particular ornaments? So when I go to the goldsmith shop, I find all sorts of rings and bangles and necklaces and say, hey, how come you are selling all this kind of rings? I want a special rings. Why don't you sell all that kind of rings? So the goldsmith there says, nobody will buy that because there is a demand for this kind of rings. Therefore, these rings are made. And if you want only that particular kind which nobody else will buy, and if you want me to make it, I will make it for you, but it costs you a lot more. If you want to buy, just buy the regular ones. That's what goldsmith will say. Therefore, whatever is being created is based on the demand. So what is the demand? So himself became in different forms. What kind of forms he is becoming? That based on the demand. Demand is nothing but the karma or the vasanas of the jivas that are there in a potential form, and that's how the creation has been explained by the scriptures itself. So what was there before creation? The same existence is the substance, and that existence exists still, because when you say the universe is, when you say we are talking about non-existent universe, we are not talking about, we are talking about that which exists. And therefore every object that I perceive and transact with has to exist. I cannot transact with non-existent objects. How about in the dream? Even a dreamer, the dream is not a dream for a dreamer while he is in the dream. Because for him, the objects are real for him to execute. So if he has a stick to hit somebody there in the dream, the stick is real, somebody is real to hit, and all that is as real as only when he is awakened through a higher state of consciousness, he will see that there is no real substance there. So what is real substance and what is apparent substance, or what is real substance and apparent is only attributive content, nama rupa only. In order to distinguish that, I need a viveka. I need an intelligence to differentiate what is real in this and what is unreal in that. That's what the Satyam and Asatyam, and that Nityam and Anityam. And Viveka is Nitya, Anitya, Vastu Viveka. In the two combinations, I had to differentiate what is real and what is not real. So I am taking a ring here, and what is ring and what is a ring? It is nothing but a gold. Now what is real in this? So this is a debatable question according to Visishta Advaita. Ring is real and gold is real. Ring is, even though is temporarily, but is still real. But we say, you may say it is real. We also say it is real for transaction purpose only. From the absolute point or from the more reality point, it's a gold that is real, because we value the ring only because it's made up of gold, and gold has attributes of gold has nothing to do with the attributes of the ring. All that is implied, and therefore whole Vedanta becomes a science to reveal that the essence of the whole universe is nothing but Sat Eva. We'll go into more analysis of this, because the Vedanta is packed in the slokas of why world is nothing but a Brahman. Because I am looking for a Brahman and I want to see Brahman. So Brahman is nothing but whole, whatever you transact with is nothing but. If I have the vision of oneness that pervades everything, then my attitude towards transactions also will be different. We'll come back to that after this in the next talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.